Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Let's get ready to rumble! Seattle's got to make a stop. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to throw it back to Goff! Who had that on the bingo card? Touchdown Lions!
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, I'm late. Got stuck in traffic today. Welcome, everyone, to the main event. Better late than never, 7:15. I've got to do the show today. Was thinking, oh, man, I don't think I'm going to make it. Got to do the show. This is the last show before the regular season. Detroit Lions play football next Sunday. The next time we do a show, we're going to be talking about the 1-0 Detroit Lions or the 1-0 Green Bay Packers. Ugh. Well, Green Bay got a lot closer this week, as I'm sure you've probably heard. Maybe you didn't hear. You know, I had this horrible dream this weekend that the Dallas Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the – wait, that was real. Holy crap. Micah Parsons is in the NFC North now. It might not be a huge impact in week one. He's dealing with a back issue, they say, which I think is a bunch of bull. I don't think there's anything wrong with his back at all. They say he's out there practicing, flying around. He's going to play. Believe me, he's going to play. But they might take a snap count on him, right? They might limit him. They might put him in some packages, let him ease into it. But do you let a guy like that ease into it? The highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL? Micah Parsons never had less than 12 and a half sacks in his career, now plays for the Evil Empire. We're going to have to deal with that, Lions fans. You might as well just accept it. Lee Smeems in the comments. Great to see you. Love the jersey. Yeah, Detroit Lions play football this week. Isn't that awesome? I'm also wearing gray sweatpants under here. You can't see right now. We are broadcasting live into the 360radionetwork.com. It is a website where you can listen to good rock and roll music, and you can even request music. You can kind of build it out yourself so that you can listen custom. So it's a pretty neat place. Go there. I'm also broadcasting live there. We'd like to thank them for letting us do that. Also on our Facebook page, The Main Event, please go over to follow. Also, we are in, what's it called? Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions on YouTube. I know you're probably watching right there. We're also in the Huddle Sports Network on YouTube. And thanks to Bill the Packer fan and Robert, everyone over there, Mike the Bear fan, for letting us broadcast into the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. Now, Micah Parsons, back to this bad dream I've been having, that Micah Parsons plays for the Green Bay Packers. It's real. And we're going to have to deal with it. And you just add that to Rashawn Gary on the other side. They did give up Kenny Clark. I know you guys all know this. It's the perils of having a once-a-week show on a Monday. Everybody's already rehashed the things that happened from Tuesday on. But I'm trying to give you a different perspective on it. And here's a different perspective on the Micah Parsons deal. It is said that Jerry Jones offered Micah Parsons 40.5. And that was because Myles Garrett had just gotten $40 million per season playing the same position. And Micah and Jerry had a conversation and a handshake that he was going to pay him 40.5, and you'd now be the highest paid defensive end, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL at 40.5 per season. Because Jerry hates Micah Parsons' agent and didn't want to have to deal with his agent. Let's just you and me talk at mano a mano. Look, he's getting 40. We think you're younger and better than him. We're going to give you 40.5. And apparently, Micah Parsons agreed to that. So let me get my my agent here, the guy that I trust to do my contract for me, let me get him, which, as he should. There's nothing wrong with that. He's a football player. He's not an accountant. He's not a lawyer. He's going to get his team. Great. Let me get my team. And that's where Jerry went. Jerry, this guy needs to go. Look, all right. I'm going to tell you right now, the Cowboys will never know, but the Cowboys might be a better team now that Micah Parsons isn't there. Because all the distraction is over. All the animosity between him and the owner is over. And maybe they can focus on football. They got a pretty good roster, especially on offense. And Kenny Clark, who they received in the trade, is no slouch either. A 3-time Pro Bowler, run stuffer. Something the Cowboys haven't been able to do. So he says, let me go get my agent and we'll get this deal done. And then what happened? TJ Watt got paid $41 million a year. Now, where Jerry had stopped, Micah's agents want to start at 40.5. And Jerry wasn't going to have it. He's not going to get bullied by you or your agent. And he's going to let, arguably, the most dominant defensive player in the NFL walk. I like the compensation that he got. I do, and we'll talk about that. But Micah Parsons then says, I want to be traded. Green Bay and Dallas says, okay, let's trade you. And they find a trade partner. And then Brian Gutekunst said yesterday on satellite radio, he said, we've been close like this many times. You just never heard about it with big names. But this one actually seemed to have some juice. Like, in other words, a motivated seller, right? Wanting to get rid of this guy. So Brian Gutekunst all but said it. That look, they just kept saying, here, come and get him. What I want to know is why the Green Bay Packers had to pay $47 million a year. If Myles Garrett was getting 40 and TJ Watt's getting 41, seems to me you could have got him for 42, Green Bay. Why did you get milked for an extra $5 million? Why did you set the bar? Was that just stick it to Detroit because we got to sign Hutchinson? I mean, in a way, you might have got took in that respect. Believe me, no Packer fans are feeling like they got took. All right? And no matter how Lions or Bears or Vikings fans want to spin it, the Packers got Micah Parsons, and that's the bottom line. Okay? To add to an already tough defense. Jeff Hafley turned that defense around last year. They made the playoffs 2 years in a row. So why did Green Bay pay an extra $5 million? I want to know. Did the Cowboys come back and go, okay, well, TJ Watt got 41, we'll give you 42. Oh, well, now we've already started the trade. Green Bay says 43. And then you get a bidding war going, and now the agent is just licking his chops. Oh, yeah, this is what we wanted. And it tops out at $47 million. Apparently, that was too rich for Dallas, or they wanted rid of him. At any rate, the Green Bay Packers are paying an extra $5 or $6 million for Micah Parsons that they probably didn't have to. So what did they get back? Well, let's think about that for a minute. They got Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark, just what they need, so they can stop drafting guys from Michigan with stupid names that can't play. I'm looking at you, Taco Charlton or Mozzie Smith. You sound like a Muppet. Kenny Clark is a man, and he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and I'm glad to see him go from the division, honestly. With our struggles in the middle of the offensive line, with the loss of Ragnow to retirement, Zeitler to free agency, we're playing Christian Mahogany, a very young player at left guard. We're playing a rookie at right guard. And Graham Glasgow's not an all-world center by any means. So I'm a little concerned about the middle of our line. I'm really glad that Kenny Clark isn't going to be there anymore. I like our tackles, so I'll put Micah Parsons on the end and we'll deal with that. But this helped the Lions running between the tackles, shoring up the middle of the defense. Now, Carl Brooks went to Bowling Green University, the defensive tackles, a guy that I scouted for this other page I used to work for a couple of years ago when he was coming out of college. And this was a guy that I looked at, and we watched his tape on this guy as a potential guy the Lions were going to draft, Carl Brooks. And he now is going to get a chance to start. He's shown some flashes as a backup defensive tackle, and now he's going to get a chance to start with Kenny Clark moving on in the trade. You've got Rashawn Gary on one side, Micah Parsons on the other, Carl Brooks in the middle. Lucas Van Ness, the guy they drafted in 2023, the defensive end, now becomes Micah Parsons' backup. So he was really getting manhandled. He was having a tough time. So this might be a good thing for him too. This might be the best thing for Lucas Van Ness, to sit behind Micah Parsons. Really get him developed, because he had a lot of flashes coming out of college. It was kind of surprising that he didn't pop right away. I was surprised anyway. What do we got in the comments? Who's here today? Oh, man, some of my favorites. The Papa, Ken Ballreich in the house. What's up? Eric says, thank God we don't have to play Buffalo. I don't know. Who they got besides Josh Allen? They got nobody. They beat us last year, but we were one score away from winning that game. Detroit Fan Man, one of my favorites. Michael Parsons needs a backiotomy. Love it. Don't want to get 45 dropped on us again by Buffalo. Yeah, but look, man, if we're talking about the schedule, Eric, the schedule is way harder this year than it was last year. Go Pack, go all day, says Packers look really good on paper right now. They do. They do. But you could say that about the Bears. The Bears look great with the upgrades they've made to the offensive line, the defensive line, and Jaquan Brisker coming back. You could say the same thing about the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a tough division this year, but I hear what you're saying. Packers looking for some redemption on Sunday. I hope so. I hope that's how you guys feel. Some of those Packer fans won't admit it, so thank you, Go Pack, for admitting that's how you feel. You want revenge because we've been owning you lately. And the scheduler makers had fun with this one. Ooh, let's open with the Lions in Green Bay. Ooh, it's going to be a good one. Right now on DraftKings, the Green Bay Packers are favored by 2.5 points against the Detroit Lions. Put it in the comments. I want to know, what do you think? 2.5? You like your chances with the Lions? You're getting 2.5 if you're the Lions. Minus 2.5 to Green Bay. Put in the comments. Tell me you'll take the points. Take the Lions in the points on the road. Undefeated on the road last year. Undefeated in the division last year. This is a division game on the road. I like our chances. I think it's insulting that we are actually underdogs in this game. We were 15-2 last year, the number one seed in the NFC, and we're returning everybody. So I don't get why we're even underdogs. Usually it's 3 points in a division. The home team's usually favored by 3 in the NFC North division games. It's 2.5. It was 3.5 before the Micah Parsons trade, which made me scratch my head a little bit. How did the line go down when Micah Parsons was added to the team? It went from 3.5 to 2.5. Interesting. One thing that happened, the Vegas odds makers made the Green Bay Packers the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North now. Overnight, adding one player made them usurp or jump over the Lions as the favorite to win the NFC North. Very, very interesting. John in the house says, oh, yeah, what's up, my extended family? What up, John? What up, John Doe? Troy Fanman, I think FTP had to pay $47 because they have state income tax. I guess it's about the same as $40 million in Texas without income tax. Thank you, Fanman. That's why you're one of my favorites. That would explain it. He's going from a team that doesn't have income tax. So that 40.5 or 42 that Jerry Jones was offering, well, we're just going to take this 42 from Dallas, and had to drive up the price for Green Bay to pay that extra $5 million. Such a good call out. I don't know if that is the reason, but that's at least a plausible answer that I can live with. Good evening, Davey. One Pride. Go Lions. Davey says Lions by 7. Take those 2.5 points. Week 1 in the NFL starts on Thursday with the Cowboys and the Eagles. The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will do their ring ceremony and raise the banner in front of the Cowboys. How nice. Wouldn't that be great? Someday, when we win a Super Bowl, you make sure, schedule makers, that you make the very next season, the opening game is against Green Bay in Ford Field, please. You're adding insult to injury to the Cowboys, making them watch you raise the banner and get your rings. Also, the Cowboys, a 7.5 point underdog in that game. Jalen Hurts and company favored by over a touchdown against Dallas. I don't know. Something in my gut says take Dallas in the points. Dak is healthy. We're going to talk about fantasy football at the end of the show today. Dak Prescott's not going till 12th round. Dak is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Okay, he is the highest paid per season quarterback in the NFL for a reason. And before Jamar Chase just got paid, CeeDee Lamb was the highest paid wide receiver. We're going to talk about fantasy football, and those Dallas Cowboys have some real interesting fantasy options. But week 1, Thursday night against the Eagles, I like taking Dallas and the 7.5 points. There's also a game on Friday. It's the Chiefs at the Chargers. Chargers are getting 3 in their own building against a division opponent, and it just has to be the Chiefs. A lot of people predicting the Chiefs' downfall this year. You listen to satellite radio or Detroit Sports Talk Radio, there's a lot of these talking heads predicting that the Kansas City Chiefs will not even win their division this year. Crazy talk, really. Rashee Rice is going to be out for a whopping 6 games. That's huge. He's your number 1 wide receiver. Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, and his AARP card. There are not a lot of options there for Mahomes. So a lot of people predicting a downfall. I'm not so sure. I'm not sold. These guys, they won 15 ball games last year too. So, and made it to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes knows nothing else but AFC championship games and beyond. So to predict that he's not going to win the division is a stretch for me. I think they're still the favorite to win the division, in my opinion. But, and I also like him to go into the Chargers' place and beat them by more than 3 points. I think that coming out of the gate, the new running game that Jim Harbaugh is going to have there for the Chargers with Omari and Hampton, the rookie, Najee Harris with an eye issue. Rashawn Slater is gone now for the season with a knee injury, the Pro Bowl offensive lineman they have. So I think that Steve Spagnuolo, as defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, can dial up enough pressure to eke out a win. And they're going to need to do it by more than 3. Then the Sunday early games, you got the Giants at the Commanders. Commanders are favored by 6. I think the Commanders should take care of business there. The Giants are probably a better team this year than they were last year, but they might lose more games. They have the hardest schedule in the NFL, the New York Giants. And on week 1, they go against Washington Commanders as a 6-point underdog on the road. I think I like Washington to cover there. Next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati, notoriously slow starters, notoriously can't win there in Cleveland as of last year. And I like the Bengals, but 5.5, I think I'm going to take the Browns and the 5.5. It sounds silly, I know it. But Flacco's a vet. They got a good defense. Bengals are slow start coming out of the gate. I think I'm going to take Cleveland only because it's 5.5. If it was 4 points, I'd probably take Cincinnati. Next game is Arizona Cardinals at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are going to be dog crap this year. They're going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And they're going to draft Archie Manning. Archie Manning back in New Orleans. Arch Manning as the number 1 pick to the New Orleans Saints because they are going to have a dog water year. Week 1, they are at home, and they are a 6.5-point favorite. I think Kyler Murray and them guys go in and win this game by 14. This is a lock for me. You're probably going to be able to pick the lock against New Orleans every single week this season. Spencer Rattler has been named the starter right now. This guy can't push the ball downfield. Listen, Alvin Kamara is a very interesting fantasy play. Last year, he was in the top 10 in PPR leagues. And this year, they're going to be dinking and dunking a lot more because they've named Spencer Rattler as the starter. He cannot push the ball down the field. Look for a lot of Taysom Hill. Look for a lot of Alvin Kamara. If they're able to get off the field on third down at all, it'll be Alvin Kamara getting them there. They do have Chris Olave, but who's going to throw him the ball? Tough. That's a tough one, being a New Orleans Saints fan right now. Kudos to Alvin Kamara as well. He could have taken more money and gone somewhere else, but he signed an extension, stayed with, he's going to retire a Saint. He's going to be a Saints legend. Tampa Bay at Atlanta, another division game. They're all division games, I think, but 2 games. They are all division games this week, in week 1. Tampa at Atlanta, the spread is 2.5. Sorry, Atlanta, but I think Tampa Bay is on to something right now. And last year, Atlanta beat Tampa twice, and they still couldn't win the division. I think Tampa is going to come in there and stomp them and definitely cover the 2.5 points. Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Jets. How interesting is this? Justin Fields against the Steelers in week 1. I love it. Oh, yeah, by the way, Aaron Rodgers against the Jets in week 1. Man, you couldn't write this any better. What they basically are playing each other with the quarterbacks they had last year. Crazy. The spread is 3. This one's so tough, I can't pick it. The Jets are getting 3 at home. Therefore, I'll take the Jets. Pittsburgh should have a monster defense this year with the free agent acquisitions that they got and the draft picks that they got. They got a dog of a defensive tackle from Oregon named Harmon. They got Jalen Ramsey now, Darius Slay. They signed TJ Watt. He's healthy. Highsmith on the other side. Oh, yeah, Cameron Hayward. They're stacked. Herbig, the linebacker, he's good. The defense is stacked. Joey Porter Jr. Maybe I shouldn't take the Jets in the points. Matter of fact, I'm going to reserve judgment on that one just yet. Put in the comments. Tell me what you like. Pittsburgh at the Jets. Jets are getting 3. Aaron Rodgers back in New York. He's going to be pissed. He's got DK Metcalf to throw to now. Interesting. I'm going to leave that one up to you guys for now. Pittsburgh at the Jets +3. Next game on the docket is not a division game. It's the Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts -1.5. So the Colts favored in a game at home against the Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm sorry. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones at quarterback. Jonathan Taylor can run the ball. Miami has a crappy defense. This is basically a pick'em game, so give me the 1.5 points just because. If I lose this one, I don't care that much because it was basically a pick'em game anyway. Tua is healthy. He's 1 concussion away from bleeding from the ears and being out of the league. So that's always tenuous. And I've got some really good fantasy advice coming up for you here at the end of the show. Be sure you stick around for that. You're watching the Main Event Football Show. I'm your host, Main Event Mike. Follow me on all social media at Main Event Mike. I'm on Threads. I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, all of them. At Main Event Mike, MANE, Main Event Mike. Next game on the docket is the Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Toilet Bowl. Jaguars at home, and they are favored by 3.5 against Bryce Young and the Panthers. And we're going to get to see Travis Hunter. I will not be drafting Travis Hunter. in fantasy. I also don't play individual defensive player fantasy. If you do, Travis Hunter might be the number 1 ranked fantasy player in IDP. I don't play IDP personally. But Carolina going into Jacksonville, this is a good chance for Carolina to get a win, a team they can beat. They're favored by 3.5. I think this one's close, even if Jacksonville wins it. So give me Carolina in the 3.5. Next game on the docket is the Raiders at the Patriots. This is always a good game for some odd reason. These two teams, again, not a division. I think this is the only other. Oh, there's one more too. That's not a division game. Raiders at the Patriots. Patriots at home -3. Give me the Raiders and the 3 points. You don't know Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. They can keep the game close. I really believe they can. I don't expect a lot from Ashton Genty like a lot do. He's a rookie running back. They rarely produce big in fantasy. This kid could be the exception. I'm just not willing to take him where his ADP is. He's being drafted in the top 10 in a lot of leagues, and I'm just not ready to go there. There are too many other quality players for me to take a chance on a Raiders player, period. So, but in this game, Raiders are getting 3 on the road. Give me that. I'll take the Raiders in the 3. Next game, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward rookie debut against the Denver Broncos in Mile High, -7.5. This also could be a lock. I think of Bo Nix and company. They've got an incredible defense there. Sorry about your luck, Cam Ward. The first draw you get in your first NFL game happens to be the best defense in the league. They added Jahdae Barron at corner to an already tough defense. He's the best coverage nickel corner in the draft. And they got him to go along with Nick Bonito, Patrick Surtain, Coleman. They got a bunch of good players on that defense. 7.5 isn't enough. Give me the Broncos, and I'll lay down the 7.5. Next game, San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is +2.5. I know the 49ers have lost 16 players in the offseason, and not just nobodies either, like real names. 16 players they've lost. But they still got George Kittle, signed him to an extension. And they still got Christian McCaffrey, and they say he's going to be healthy. 2.5, division game. Sam Darnold, that's a question mark to me. Brock Purdy and the Niners, even though they've lost some players, we know what Kyle Shanahan's going to do with them. We know that zone blocking scheme that he runs is going to be successful no matter who's running the ball. Whether it's McCaffrey or the newly acquired Brian Robinson or Isaac Guerrero, who's a very good backup running back. Any of those guys toting the rock in Shanahan's system is going to be productive. Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes. That's what he does. Takes care of the ball. Doesn't make mistakes. I'm not sold on Seattle's defense. So give me the Niners. I'm going to take the Niners and give me the 2.5 points. I'm on the road. The next game on the docket is your Detroit Lions at Ford Field North, also known as the Litter Box, Lambeau, the frozen tundra of Green Bay. Green Bay Packers favored by 2.5 points. Give me the Lions. I can't bet against the Lions and the Packers. Sorry. Don't care. If the Lions were favored by 2.5, I'd take the Lions. And instead, they're getting 2.5 all day and every day and twice this coming Sunday. Next game on the docket, Houston Texans at the LA Rams. This game will be a Sunday 4:25 kickoff in LA, -3. The Rams favored. Give me the Houston Texans and the 3 points. Why? Because I'm not sold on Matt Stafford's back. He hasn't been practicing. And if Jimmy Garoppolo's got to play, I like CJ Stroud's chances in a duel against Jimmy G. I know what you're thinking. I know you're going to say, oh, Stafford's going to be out there. He's going to get a shot in the back, and he'll go out there. Well, okay. But the Houston Texans have one of the best defenses in the league. They're not going to go quietly. And they have an explosive offense. Nico Collins is going to be trending towards an all-pro year this year, is what they say. Give me the Texans in the 3 points. 4:25 game, the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. Oh, you schedule makers. Oh, I wish you would have put this game at a different time, though. We'll all be watching the Lions and the Packers. But it's Lamar versus Josh Allen in Buffalo. The Bills favored by 1.5. I'm going to take the Ravens because I think the Ravens are going to win the AFC this year, and I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take the Ravens. Give me the 1.5. 8:20 Sunday night game. Minnesota at Chicago. The Bears at home, the debut of Ben Johnson, and they are getting 1.5 against the Minnesota Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears here. I know you think I'm crazy, but J.J. might be great someday, but right now he's a rookie. I know it's his second year, but for all intents and purposes, he's a rookie. And I think that Dennis Allen is a very good defensive coordinator, and he is going to find a way to get a win in this game. And Minnesota goes to 1-0 in the division. And I'm taking it because you're giving me 1.5. Heck yeah. Actually, it's minus. I'm giving up 1.5. So give me the Bears, and I'm getting 1.5. That's correct. Yeah, I'm plus 1.5. That's the Monday night game. There's a Monday night game and a Sunday night game. So you've got Ravens at Bills at 4:25, and then Vikings at Bears at 8. So 8:20, excuse me. So I wonder why they put Lions and Packers at 4:05. They could have put them at 1 o'clock. And that would have been the biggest draw of the day. Of all of these games we listed, there's not one that's bigger than Lions, Packers, in Lambeau. So that's kind of a mystery to me why they made it. So there it is. There's your slate of week 1 in the NFL of the 2025 season. Now, let's talk some fantasy football for a minute here. Let's talk about how you go about setting your team. And something that has come to light for me is that it all depends on your draft position. Where are you drafting? My big money league is tomorrow. And that big, beautiful trophy over my shoulder there, I got to give it back because I lost last year. I didn't win. And it sucks having to give the trophy back. But tomorrow is the draft. Tomorrow is the day I make the march to get the trophy back. And I'm going to do that by analyzing what my draft position is and who's available in those rounds. There are a lot of great materials online, a lot of great websites. And I recommend that you do your research and you find guys that you like and you make yourself a draft board. That's what I've done. I make myself a draft board. These are my highest rated players that I'd like to do. But I don't know where I'm going to be picking. So I do a mock draft. You can go to the ESPN app and choose Mock Draft Simulator and do a mock draft. And I choose different draft positions, and I kind of keep a running record in my head of who's available where, so that when draft day comes, I've already got a pretty good idea who I'm going to be getting in the later rounds, because that's where the draft is won. Yinzer's in the house. What up, Jackwagon? So with the 7th overall pick, I did a mock last night. I had the 7th overall pick. I like to go running back early. I like to get an anchor running back. It's called anchor RB strategy. That's what I love to play. Get one running back in the first round, and from there, you can let the board fall to you because you've got that anchor, that one RB. There are only a handful of running backs in the NFL right now that are what you call a bell cow back or a feature back. Right? Not even in Detroit do we have that. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs eat carries away from each other. Bijan Robinson is now a feature back. Tyler Allgeier's carries have diminished. He's a bell cow now for Bijan. So Bijan is definitely a bell cow. Jonathan Taylor in Indy, a bell cow. Josh Jacobs in Green Bay, a bell cow back. It's committee in Chicago. It's committee in Detroit. It's also going to be committee in Minnesota. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. It's going to be a committee a lot of places. So find that bell cow back who gets the lion's share of the touches. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. Now in Cincinnati, it's Chase Brown. He was a top 5 back down the last 10 games of the season last year. Chase Brown in Cincinnati. Holding off a sneeze. Hold on. Find that bell cow back and make that your anchor RB. That's what I like to do. However, in the first round, there are only a few of those backs that are bell cows that are going to go in the first round. The others are going in the second round. Christian McCaffrey going in the first round to some people, not me. I don't trust it. But Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, these guys are second round backs because the talent at wide receiver is so thick that the first 10 picks or 12 picks in the first round are going to be spread out among those first 4 or 5 wide running backs and wide receivers. So I like Josh Jacobs coming back. I like Jonathan Taylor on the way back. So it matters where you draft. This is the point of what I'm saying tonight. If you have the luxury of knowing your draft position before the draft, kudos to you. Then you can do your research and really get a handle on what you think might be around in those later rounds for you. But for me, I can't find out until tomorrow, like literally 5 minutes before the draft starts. Then I'll find out what order I'm drafting in. But I'm preparing for that by doing mock drafts and analyzing what falls to me. So last night I did a mock with the 7th overall pick, meaning I'm outside of that first 4 or 5 picks where those choice running backs are going to go. Saquon and Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are and Bijan. Saquon, Bijan, and Jahmyr Gibbs are the 3 bell cow backs that are going at the top end of the first round in every fantasy draft everywhere. Unless it's like a flex league where you got 2 quarterbacks or whatever. But anyway, those 3 backs. So if you're drafting 7th like I was in the mock, those guys are gone. So my anchor RB strategy is now out the door. Now I got to go wide receiver and start building a different way. So I took CeeDee Lamb first at the 7th pick. And in a snake format, it was only 6 more picks that came back to me. What was gone at that time in those 6 picks was Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs gone. The 2 running backs that I was hoping I would get on the way back were taken. So I'm sitting there with CeeDee Lamb, and there's no real first-round talent running back on the board still. Derrick Henry even went in there. There was a run on him, and I got stuck holding the bag, and I didn't get my anchor RB in that first round like I should have. So I took Amon-Ra St. Brown. So now I'm sitting with CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm looking good at wide receiver 1 and 2, buddy. 2 of the best, 2 of the biggest, highest fantasy producing wide receivers over the last 2 years. I got as starters. So I feel pretty good about that. But I need to hit on some running backs in the next rounds. So it comes back to me now in the 3rd round. All the good running backs are gone. And I'm looking at the list of running backs, and I realize that the running backs I like next are also going to be there in the 4th round. So I started the run on quarterbacks and took Lamar Jackson, the highest producing fantasy quarterback in the NFL. So I got the 2 best wide receivers and the best quarterback. I had the 7th pick. But I'm still worried because I don't have any running backs. but I've done my homework. Coming back in the 4th round, I was able to get Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is healthy. If he stays that way, he's going to be a beast. Seattle's going to want to run the ball a lot. Coming back the next way, I was able to get Breece Hall. I believe Aaron Glenn is going to run the ball more than any team. I've already said this on the show, that I believe the New York Jets will lead the NFL in rush attempts. Whether that with Justin Fields, Braylon Allen, or Breece Hall. Breece Hall, 2 years ago, was a top 5 fantasy player. I was able to get him in the 5th round, and he was my 2nd running back. So I got Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, and Lamar at quarterback. I would have liked to get a tight end next, but there are only 3 tight ends I'll take in the first 5 rounds this year. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and George Kittle. Kittle's the one I really want. Truth be told, I want George Kittle more than Trey McBride, more than Brock Bowers. But he's going ahead of, those guys are going ahead of Kittle in every draft. So if you can get George Kittle, take it from Main Event Mike. I'm telling you right now, George Kittle's going to be the highest producing tight end this year in the NFL. Who do they got out there? McCaffrey. They're going to be throwing out of the backfield a lot. Brandon Ayuk's hurt. Ricky Pearsall. Okay, Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle. They just signed into a huge extension. He's going to be a focal point in the offense out there in San Fran. But I wasn't able to get any of those guys in the 6th round because they were gone. So I took Jameson Williams as my wide receiver 3. I don't know if you think what I think, but J-Mo's going to have a breakout year is what I'm thinking. Comes back down, I get Aaron Jones. I also get Matthew Golden from Green Bay. Javonte Williams, the running back in Dallas. Look, I know there's a lot of hype about Jaden Blue, the rookie. But Javonte Williams was brought there for a reason. He was top 3 in the NFL last year of target share out of the backfield in Sean Payton's offense because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He is the RB1 clear cut in Dallas. They're going to have a good offense in Dallas. And in the 9th round, I got Javonte Williams. This is on expert mode. I'm drafting against experts in this mock. And in the 9th round, the RB1 for the Dallas Cowboys was available, Javonte Williams. I love that pick. After that, I got Jordan Addison. And then I was running out of tight ends. Everyone in the league had already picked their tight end, and I didn't have one. They were all gone. Mark Andrews, Laporta, all of them. So I'm staring down the remains of the tight ends, and I took Kyle Pitts. Now, Kyle Pitts in Atlanta is in a contract year. He has not lived up to his first-round draft pick. The biggest hype coming out of college, this guy going to redefine the position, they said. He doesn't even look comfortable at the position. Down the stretch last year, they purposely, when Michael Penix took over, they cut his target share down. So I don't love the pick, but I think there's some upside here because of where I got him way low in the draft. And he is the starting tight end in what should be a very high-powered offense in Atlanta. So I don't hate it. I also got Najee Harris. I got the Pittsburgh. I drafted a defense and a kicker around early so I could get the best ones because I felt like I was thin at running back and tight end. So I got the Pittsburgh defense, and I got Jake Bates, the kicker for the Lions. Come back with 2 final picks. I took 2 rookie running backs for their upside, and that was Ollie Gordon in Miami and Jaden Blue in Dallas. I have Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue handcuffed. I have the Dallas backfield handcuffed, and I wasted a 16th round pick on Jaden Blue. So very likely that he gets cast off and we find somebody on the waiver wire we like better. But there was 16-round mock. I love the team I got. I think I'd retain the trophy with this team, especially if Lamar has the kind of year I think he's going to have. But it's time to wrap it up. It's 8 o'clock. They don't let me go over. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Sorry I was late today. I will be back next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to break down week 1 of the NFL. Thanks, everybody, for watching live. If you're watching on the rebroadcast, thank you. We appreciate you as well. Put your comment in, even if you're watching on the rebroadcast, because I love to interact with the audience and answer questions and listen to your predictions. Tell me what game you like. I've changed my mind. I'm going to take Pittsburgh over Aaron Glenn's Jets, and I'll lay down the 3 points. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends.